Hello my friends and welcome back to my channel. I have very bad news unfortunately for all the PC gamers out there, because right now at this very moment when I've recorded this video there is no HDR support for the PC version. We have just HDR support on the Xbox version, and before now some people trying to tell me that SDR is anyway better than HDR. First of all, you're completely wrong, and second of all, just have a very quick look on the side-by-side comparison here, a very quick comparison between SDR on the PC and HDR on the Xbox. There is no way from a technical point of view that on a proper HDR monitor, screen or TV, an SDR implementation is better than a good HDR implementation. The question now is, how good is HDR on the Xbox? And in regards of the HDR presentation on the Xbox Series, I have good news and unfortunately also bad news. Let's start with the good news. I mentioned this already many times in my other videos. One of the most important key factors is contrast, to have a proper picture. This counts for SDR and also for HDR. Contrast is the difference between the darkest part of a picture and the brightest part of a picture. Obviously, HDR has a much wider dynamic range, so that means we can have a much brighter picture and also much more details in darker areas. In regards of that, the contrast in this game on the Xbox Series is pretty good. Especially the HDR black level floor is most of the time spot on. And now let's talk about the bad news. What we have, the HDR peak brightness in specular highlights is limited to 1000 nits. Even you would increase the HDR system level calibration on the Xbox Series X, which is supported by the game, to 10,000 nits. Again, the maximum peak brightness in specular highlights is just 1000 nits. And that is a very big downside in my opinion, and I don't understand why. So first of all, let me explain a couple of things. The fact that maximum peak brightness in specular highlights is limited to 1000 nits, and the other fact that we have an HDR system level calibration support up to 1000 nits means actually just one thing. We have no proper HDR support or HDR implementation in this game. It is just some sort of an auto HDR implementation, a very, maybe it's wrong, but it's a very quick and dirty solution, okay? So don't get me wrong, the HDR implementation in this game is way better than the SDR picture, but it is a very lazy implementation. And another proof that this game has just some sort of auto HDR support on the Xbox Series is the gamma slider or gamma setting in the game. That's the only setting where we can change the picture. Usually gamma refers to SDR, not to HDR. But let's talk about the gamma setting, because even you use HDR, it is very important that you follow the instruction on the screen to get the best experience to play this game. And I have tested this game on my LG G4 with game mode and HGHG enabled, and my result at the end was a gamma value of 1.85. So keep in mind that it really depends of course on your room environment, because if you play in a very dark room you may end up even with a lower value, but if your room is very bright you may end up with a higher value. So again, my experience is that when you follow the instruction on the screen you get the best experience. Okay my friends, so that's it for this very quick video. No HDR on the PC version, but HDR on the Xbox version. That's a little bit interesting, let's say like that, because there is, what's the reason for that? Actually, there is no reason for that, okay? So maybe this will get fixed, but even then there is no, let's say like this, there is no proper HDR support on the Xbox version either, because it's just a very lazy auto HDR implementation. Still much better than SDR, as you have seen in my comparison, but still not on the same level as Horizon Forbidden West, Forza or other games where we have a proper native HDR support. Anyway, it is a great game, it is an interesting game, and I will try to actually do more videos about this game. I like to compare the Xbox version with the PC version, because obviously if you have a very nice PC setup, the game looks the best on a PC, but how much better That's the question. Thank you very much for watching me. I see you guys next time. Bye.